live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Mick Strawn.
This was not Hunt for Red October, which was...
You know what? That was... the first thing that I was going to say is that this is not the Hunt for Red October, but I have to say, it kind of won me over.
Well, the first act, I was kind of bored.
Oh, it was really boring. Yeah, no, it was. But the way that they structured the second act, and it just kind of kept accelerating, and the dialogue was completely cliche, and I mean as cliche as you can possibly get, and
it was.
And the opticals were so-so, but
Gerard Butler, though. See, I went in thinking this was going to be a piece of crap because I really don't like him.
Yeah, I know you don't like him. I know.
I don't like how he talks out of the side of his mouth. And he had gum in his mouth half the time. And I was like, spit the gum out or swallow it, buddy.
Well, but at least they gave him really stupid things to say.
Right.
But you know what? Everybody that was on this thing at least was saying stupid things unilaterally.
In what universe does Common act better than Gary Oldman?
I know.
What happens? Because Gary Oldman's usually a really strong actor.
No, you're absolutely right. And Gary Oldman was absolutely chewing scenery. Yeah. I mean, holy crap, he was terrible.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I did. You know, I swear. You know what was really weird? It was almost like he wasn't in the same film as everybody else. Now, here's the weird thing. Yeah. There was something about it that was...
Yeah, he was lost.
Yeah, he was completely lost. I mean, and his character just was like as random as you possibly could get, especially considering, that he was supposed to be the secretary of... Big Boats Go Choo Choo. So, yeah, no, it was interesting. But I gotta tell you, at the same time, but by the end of it, I kind of halfway won me over.
Well, I did like the last part, like the last third of the movie.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because it got
interesting.
Yeah, it got interesting. It did.
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
we saw Hunter Killer. An untested American submarine captain teams up with the United States Navy SEALs to rescue the Russian president who has been kidnapped by a rogue general. Yeah, which, by the way, the rogue general was not very intimidating, was he? He was just a little short.
Really weird. See, now that was a weird piece of casting. Yes. Because...
all the Russians were weird. Like
they're really weird.
It's like how we see Russians, I guess.
Yeah, there was something kind of... Yeah, did you notice that almost... every Russian had a scar?
Yes.
What was up with that? It was like...
I guess what killed me were the ones on the destroyer. That they looked...
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't look right. Like
no, they
the costumes or something. I don't know what it was, but it bothered me. But
well, one thing that I really did think was amazing was the helmets that everybody was wearing that looked exactly like the
absolutely
like the sperm from Woody Allen's film.
Yes, everything you wanted to know about sex.
Yeah, the helmets that the sperm were wearing, they were the same helmets.
Except for they weren't white. I think they were white.
They weren't. Yeah. The thing is, they found those helmets and they painted them green.
That's all I could see after you said that.
Yeah, I said that during the film.
So I was looking at gum in Gerard Butler's mouth and thinking about sperm. It kind of slowed it down for me.
Yeah, but overall.
And that one girl, I was trying to figure out her name, but she was from that show I used to like called Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, right.
That was way back in.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, she always played outsider.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you pull up a name?
I mean, this was based on a book, right? So it's kind of like...
You mean these people can read?
I felt like the story was kind of, like you said, cliche.
It was all very cliche, but I don't know. There were a couple things that were just kind of interesting to ride along on. What can I say?
I did like there was one thing with these things going through the air that I liked, like that was pretty, thing happened. And,
yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, back and forth.
I'm trying to be very vague. But there's one thing where I was like, this is really stupid, because there was at one point where somebody could have communicated with somebody, early on.
Yeah.
And then all the shit that happened there
it's always that way. Yeah. It's always that way. Films were so much easier before cell phones came along, because now the question that you have to ask yourself is, why doesn't Bill just call Nancy and say, hey...
Right.
My bad.
Yeah. Hey, I'm on this. I'm over here. You might not want to do what you're thinking about doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I have to say.
And did people not bounce back really fast after they got shot?
Oh yeah.
10 minutes later, they're wearing a new shirt and they're like, "Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? I've been and oh, that's it.
Well, that's her, Linda, right? Linda
Cardellini?
Cardellini, yes.
Yeah. She was actually kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's like she hasn't really done a lot. I mean, she's done a lot of some TV.
Oh, I've always liked her character.
But yeah, I used to be a huge fan of Freaks and Geeks. That was years ago. That was 90-something? I don't even know when that was.
Anyway. Something.
But yeah,
it was something.
Had some great people on that show.
But
anyway.
You know what? The other thing I have to say about this is that the production design was really spot on. It was pretty cool. I mean, the submarine, I don't know what was a set.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of... The thing is...
The inside of the submarines, I like those shots, but some of the shots with those submarines going through the water.
Yeah, it going through the water were kind of cheesy, and it was oddly dirty, which I
right.
didn't understand. I didn't understand how when it was up on it was just a big black thing when it was riding on the surface, and then when you see it underwater, it's got moss and different colors and stuff and dust, and you're like, wow, somebody needs to clean their submarine,
That's right.
But clean your submarine. And I also wanted to point out,
always clean your submarine, especially if it's going to go into tight spaces.
I did this terrible film called Crash Dive.
Story time. It's story time with Mick. 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 Story time with Mick.
Yes, I was going to ask about that.
Well, I was going to...
Which, by the way, is almost... I think it's... Does it rival the title? How terrible it is? The Hunter Killer
Crash Dive?
Which is worse?
Hard to tell.
I think Hunter Killer's worse.
We were supposed to make it a nuclear sub, but the best we could do is make it look like a really poor example of a diesel sub.
Oh.
But we had the control room was separate from we did set up an interesting set though. That was that was like two long steel rails and then another two steel rails that were supposed to be decks.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is put them up so that the first steel rail is up about 3 feet, and so you can get a camera underneath it and run the camera underneath it and look up through the two steel decks.
Yeah.
With the perforated metal. And so it looked pretty good. It was like it was a very, very low budget. It was like Corman kind of money. But it was a perfect example.
It was made for TV, right? Or am I thinking wrong?
No, I don't think so. I think it was made for foreign.
Oh.
And Michael Dudikoff, right? So got to be made for foreign. So, yeah, that... We had gimbaled the... we put a gimbal on the deck of the main room, the control room, and so that we could tilt it and stuff. And they seem to have really done the same thing on there, because I'm almost 100% sure that the main control room had to have been a set. I mean,
yeah,
because they had to have had control over it. It was very large, but so much of it was really pretty well done. I mean, it was convincing. I mean, certainly more I mean, they must have had a pretty good budget to pull that together, or they, actually, I don't think they could have actually filmed, because they were outside of the borders of the edge of the sub most of the time. just in that room.
Yeah. Well, you had to be to shoot it all.
Yeah, it had to be on a gimbal, but at the time, at the same time,
that was straight to video. Looked like.
Crash Show. Was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a it was what can I say? When you actually Frederick Forrest.
Was that the one that you said you fell off a set or something?
I was gonna tell the story about that that set that had the two rails on it. It turned out the very top of that set was let's see, this is 3, 4, and then we had this one section that I was climbing up in. I was about 17 feet high, and I reached. I did the typical, the standard mistake. I reached for something that was made out of foam that I thought would be a great handhold.
Right.
And that didn't work out well. So I broke 2 ribs, and I just remember, I remember looking up, and I passed out for just a moment. Landed on my back, but landed on something. And I looked up, and I could tell I was in trouble because I had William Jackson was he was on my crew, and he was black. And when I was looking up, my eyes opened to a white William Jackson.
Wow.
And all the face had all the color had drained from his face as he looks right down on me, and I look up and I go, oh shit. What have I done? That's all I could think of because I was completely numb. You don't feel anything when you do that,
right, yeah.
for a little bit. And so I jumped up and I said, hey, I'm fine. No, don't worry about me. And I'm heading towards the exit. The exit of the stage, which actually empties onto another stage, and I get to the door, and I open the door, and this sign is who's just coming to work is walking across that stage. He's halfway across the empty stage as I open the door and come. I open the door and I get 2 steps into the empty stage that he's walking across, and I just fell flat on my face.
Oh man!
Passed out.
Oh jeez. At least you get out the set.
Yeah, at least I got. I made the perfect exit. Hey guys, I'm great. Through the door, bam, right on my face. Yeah, that was a good time had by all. Yeah, no, you know what? Never be in the middle of a really stressful situation you can't get out of, and then break a couple of ribs in the middle of it, because there's nothing anybody can do for 2 broken ribs. They're just nothing.
Right.
I mean, the doctor just kind of goes, hey, here's some pain pills that are going to just whack you out completely. And it was I remember going down the street after I was at the house for one day before I got so many phone calls, and I was being yelled at so often that I just had to go to work. So I popped 2 of these pills and got in my car and started to drive across town. Oh my God. You know what? I remember distinctly. I remember having an out loud conversation with my foot about as to whether as to what pedal to push on. Right?
Oh, man.
It was bad. It was like,
but look what came out of it. This amazing movie that people talk about still to this day.
Yeah.
Michael Dudikoff, his best work.
Yeah, well, what can I say? Yeah. No, it's a star in my crown, I'll tell you that. It was vicious. So anyway, Hunter Killer, we gotta rate it.
I thought the action was pretty decent. The dialogue was terrible. Some of the acting was okay.
You know what? To me, it was so bad.
Yeah. I felt like it was a Steven Seagal movie. Like the first half, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm watching Steven Seagal, but he's not in this movie. And then I have a question about, it seems odd that people that are wearing masks, like if they're flying and they're paratroopers or they're jumping out of airplanes and they're swimming with scuba gear,
right?
They probably wouldn't have full beards, would they?
You actually, my son had to get rid of his beard because he became a firefighter.
Yeah,
because you can't because of the mask.
Right.
So he can't have a beard anymore because the mask doesn't do you any good.
Seems like scuba gear they're using wouldn't work.
No, you couldn't.
So there were a lot of beards in this movie.
There were a lot of beards in this movie, yeah.
So I feel like I lost some points there.
And there was a lot of facial hair.
And that damn gum. And talking out of the side of your mouth.
You know, there was something that I learned when I was researching for Crash Dive that kept bugging me when I kept looking at this, is that before... When a nuclear sub starts out, you know, they have food everywhere in the sub. It is packed everywhere.
Because they're there for months, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like almost a year sometimes.
Yeah, and so, anything that doesn't spoil is packed in amongst the torpedoes and in the booths. And every little cranny, nook and cranny, is filled up with food, and the funny thing about it is as a production designer, I'm not 100% sure that I would do that unless there was a scriptural point about it.
Right.
But I would kind of argue that there should be a scriptural point about it, and then I would do it. But it bothers me when they all jump into a sub now,
and it's crystal clean.
Yeah, and
sparkly clean,
because there isn't really very much space, storage space for food. I mean, literally, they figure that it's going to be used, and it's just packed all over the place. Yeah. And so I just kind of it kind of gets to me when they start out from port and you know the whole and they showed us pictures of everything.
Yeah.
In the very beginning of the film, and you know there was nothing anywhere. You know, so just a little. You know, one of those stupid things that you learn too much of, and then you know you have to back into movie mode in order to.
Yeah, because most people don't. Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
Right, exactly, to get the job done.
Torpedo guy lost his ham sandwich because they went to war.
Yeah,
the sandwich is out there with a torpedo now.
Fire the torpedo tube. And just all these Christmas hams go shooting out into the water.
Look, I don't think they put food.
Well, I think that we must have killed them. There's ham everywhere.
Wow,
floating to the surface.
Wow, there's an idea for Peter Jackson. See, he should do.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There you go. So, where you at? I'm the one that usually goes first. You're waiting for me, aren't you?
No,
you're waiting for me to say.
I'm actually I'm probably gonna go low.
You're gonna go low.
2.1. And I would have given it a 2.5 if it wasn't for the damn gum and the facial hair.
Well, you see, going with 2.5.
And Gary Oldman, if he would have been up here instead of down here, I would have given him a couple points. So we'd be up to almost 3.
See, and we keep talking about 2.5 is the middle.
Yeah.
And 2
so
off
2.1 is where I am.
Yeah, so you're below and I'm going to be a little bit above. So I'm going to go like a 2.8.
Wow.
So that balances us out really. So it's a dead neutral film.
Yeah.
We're right at 2.5 when you average us all out.
So I guess that's kind of how we describe it.
Yeah. It's better than for me and a little bit worse than for you. So yeah. So there you go.
Anything else? Any other wisdom?
Wisdom? Wisdom?
I try not to throw up when I said that.
You know, I have to say that I just went to a meeting of the 72-hour film challenge.
Yeah.
Tonight. Oh. And I was kind of asked by Brian McLaughlin. He was saying, well, you know, what we want to do is kind of give a critique of the films. And I think I was a little bit hard on everybody.
Oh, well,
I felt bad about it. You know, I don't know that I'm a really good prick, I mean, I'm not good at being a prick. Well, actually, I am. But the thing is, I was trying to be funny about it. But I was just trying to bring up only the bad points. The thing is, there was one of the other producers. And it was like, but how about this? And I was like, wow, some.
We were the Simon Cowell.
I was
old Simon Cowell.
I was playing old Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
So,
Which, by the way, I think I'm going to do it next year. And I was going to try to get you involved. And it's going to involve salad, I think. I still think that idea is brilliant.
Simon Cowell and salad?
No. Mick Strawn makes a salad. I've already said too much. But I'll give you I'll pitch my idea after I turn off the microphone.
You pitch that to me.
In fact,
afterwards.
I have to take that out because I don't want anybody to know what the title is.
Because right.
It's such a great title.
Am I saying?
Yeah.
Because.
Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well, at DW Review, and, of course, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.
What should you care about this?